Hello, welcome. I'm Andreas, your tech-curious web designer. In this tutorial series, we will discover how to work with tenants in a Django project. Tenants are essentially different versions of the application with separate databases or database schemas attached to them to make sure that the data is isolated for each instance. This is very useful when building SaaS applications, short for software as a service, where you want your client's data to be separated from each other, but still using the same code base. Popular apps which use this multi-tenant architecture include, for example, Discord with different servers, GitHub with different repositories, Shopify with online stores, or Gmail with inboxes. In this video, I will give you a quick overview of what we're going to build, explain the concept behind tenant architecture, and we will also set up a basic Django application. But before we get started, a quick shout out to my newest supporter on Patreon. A big hug to Mark. Thank you so much for your support. I really appreciate it. Okay, and now without further ado, let's dive in. In this tutorial, we are going to build a very basic Django app, where each tenant or version of the application has their own database schema with their own users and a list of items. So on this page, we have an input field to add items, for example Django, HTMX, or Tailwind CSS. So this is my main application, and the database schema it is using by default is called public. After that, we will set up a tenant using a subdomain with their own set of data. For example, I have your coffee shop tenant at coffeeshop.localhost:8000. And here we're using the same code base, but depending on the subdomain, we receive a different dataset. So for the coffee shop, we have the items macchiato, cappuccino, and americano. We also have different users for this tenant, as well as custom branding for the site. And I added another tenant, a car dealer. And here we have the items Ferrari, Tesla, and Audi. Okay, this was a quick demo of the app we're going to build. Now let's take a look at the concept of multi-tenant architecture. There are a few strategies on how to set up different instances of an application where each client has their own version of the website. One approach is to add an identifier like a client ID to every piece of data in the database to distinguish between different clients. This method requires a lot of if-else statements in the code, which can lead to cross-contamination, where data is shown to the wrong clients. This approach is not ideal. The code can become very complex and there is no real data isolation. However, the administration overhead might be lower, since you're only managing one codebase and one database. A better option for data isolation is to spin up a completely new service and new database for each client. This method ensures complete isolation, as each client operates independently with its own database. However, this also means managing multiple codebases and databases. While the code is straightforward, since it's just a copy of the original, the administration becomes time-consuming and you need to update each app and migrate each database individually. This setup can become difficult to scale. A more efficient approach is to use one single web server connected to different databases, one for each client. Here you maintain the same codebase, and Django dynamically selects the right database based on the tenant. We also have complete data isolation as we use different databases. However, even though the codebase is unified, you still need to manage and migrate each database individually. In most cases, the best option is to use one codebase and Postgres schemas to isolate the data. Schemas are like mini databases within a single database, allowing you to isolate data for each tenant while still managing only one database. With this approach, you maintain a single codebase and also achieve good data isolation. With this option, we keep the administration overhead low and the app scalable. Now let's have a look at the data flow in a Tenants app. When a request comes in, it first goes through the tenant middleware. This middleware identifies the tenant based on the domain name or subdomain. The tenant can have custom logic, including different URLs, depending on whether it's a public or tenant-specific app. Shared apps and Tenants app can have different tables in the database, separate static files, media files, and templates. After the tenant is identified, the database router dynamically selects the correct schema in the Postgres database to fetch the right data for that tenant. Alright, I think that's enough of introduction. Let's set up a basic Django application now. So I'm here in Visual Studio Code as my code editor, and I have created an empty folder called Tenants. And in here I download now my Django starter code, which gives me a basic Django application we can build on. We can grab this code from my GitHub repository at github.com/ngchat/django-starter. If you're interested to know how I built this starter project, check out this video. You will find a link in the description below. And to download this repository, I copy this command here. For this command to work, however, you need to have Git installed. And then we paste the command in here. Okay, the files are now downloaded. I also created a GitHub repository for this project, which you can find at github.com/ngchat/tenants. Next, I create a virtual environment with Python 3-m venv. Then I activate this virtual environment with source venv/bin/activate. Then I upgrade pip. Pip is the package manager for Python, and I want to make sure I'm using the latest version. And then we install the packages for this project from the requirements.txt file with pip install -r requirements.txt. Okay, with that our application is installed. But instead of using the built-in SQLite database now, we want to use a Postgres database, which allows us to create database schemas. And I will set up Postgres with a Docker container using Docker Desktop. If you're not familiar with Docker and Docker Desktop, check out my Docker series, and specifically this video about containerizing Postgres. You find again a link in the description below. This is my running Docker Desktop application, and as we can see, I'm starting here from scratch with no containers, images or volumes set up yet. To set up and run a Postgres container, I create a new Docker Compose file. So in the root, I create a docker-compose.yaml file. And now I grab the code for this file from my Tenants repository. Here I'm going to Docker Compose and grab the code. So here the name for this project in Docker is Tenants. I'm defining here the services or containers. I'm only running one container, the Postgres container. For this, I'm downloading the Postgres image from the Docker Hub. I name this container Postgres-container. Then I'm mapping the port 5432 from the host machine to the same port number on the container. I set up the environment variables. And because this is just a local development environment, I set the database name, username and password to Postgres. And I'm calling the volumes Postgres-data. Okay, save this file. And with the command docker compose app-d, I create this container now and run it in detached mode. It is downloading the Postgres image. And we have a running container now. We can see this container also in the Docker desktop. We downloaded the Postgres image from the Docker Hub. And we have the volumes with our custom name active as well. Next, we connect this Postgres database with our Django application. For this, I'm going to my settings.py file in the core folder. Here I find the database configurations. And instead of SQLite 3, we will use PostgreSQL. Then we change the name to Postgres. The user is Postgres. And the password is Postgres. Then our host is localhost. And the port number is 5432. Alright, and now we also have to install psychopg2, which is the Postgres driver. So let's install this package with pip install psychopg2-binary. Then we can migrate to this database with python manage.py migrate. Make sure you have the settings.py file saved. Then we create our admin user with python manage.py create superuser. And then we can spin up the server with python manage.py run server. Alright, let's check it out. In the browser, I'm going to localhost :1000. And our basic Django app connected to a Postgres database is up and running. Let's log in. And let's also upload a profile image. Alright, I also changed quickly the title of this project to Django Tenants. So for this, I'm going to the header.html file in the templates folder, includes header.html, and here I change the title. And save. And we have a new project set up. Next, I will add the items list feature, where we can add new items to the database. For this, I'm going to my main application, which is a_home, and here the models.py, and add here the item class, which represents the item table in the database. This is a very simple table, which stores the name of the item, and also the string representation for the admin interface. Alright, save this file. Let's migrate this to the database. So first Ctrl+C to shut the server down. Then we'll make the migrations with python manage.py make migrations. And then migrate with python manage.py migrate. Then let's add this table to our admin interface. So I'm going to my admin.py file. I import everything from my models file and register this table with admin.site.register and then in parentheses the item class. Okay, save this file. Next, let's create a view. For this, I'm going to the views.py file. And here I fetch all the items stored in the database with item.objects.all. Let's import this item class. So again, from .models import everything. Then I define here the context variable with the items dictionary and add the context to the return statement. Okay. Next, let's add the frontend code where we loop through the items and display the input field. So I'm going to my home.html file. This is also in the templates folder, home.html. First, I change the title here to most popular. And then I add here the code, which we can copy again from the GitHub repository. So here we go to itemslist.html and copy this code. So on top we have our HTML element with the ID item list. Inside we have the loop, which loops through the items we receive from the backend, and display the name of the item inside a list element. And then underneath we have the form with the input field, where we can add new items to the list. And I'm using HTMX here to communicate with the backend, so we don't have to refresh the page. So for this to work, you need to have the HTMX script added to the head of the page, which is already included if you use this starter code. So first we have hx-post, which specifies the link we want to go to. We still need to set this up. Then we have the hx-target, which specifies the element with the ID item list we want to update. And hx-swaps defines how the data is added to the element, and we want to add it as the last item. And this last line uses hyperscript and resets the input field after the HTMX request is sent. Again, for this to work, you need to have hyperscript added to the head of the page. Okay, then we have the standard CSRF token for Django form. And here we have the input field and the submit button. Okay, save this file. Next, let's add the logic how to create a new item in the views.py file. And define here this create item function. First I check if it's a post request. Then I'm getting the name of the item. Then I create the item object. And then I save this object in the database. And then I send the list item with the item name back to the frontend using HTTP response. Okay, let's import the HTTP response class. From Django.http import HTTP response. Then I also add an else statement if it's not a post request. I just redirect to the home page. Import redirect. Okay, save this file. And now let's set up the URL. So we go to the urls.py file and add this path. So the name of this link is create-item, and we link it to the create item function. Okay, with that we implemented this feature now. Let's start up the server now and check it out. Python manage.py run server. I refresh. And we have our input field added to the page now. Okay, let's add a few items. The first item is Django, then we add HTMX and Tailwind CSS. Nice. So with this our basic setup is done. And this is all for today. Thank you for watching. In the next video we will add a tenant. And I hope to see you there. Until then, happy coding my friends, and bye bye for now.